Hello and welcome to my podcast, Happy Not Just Rich. Today, we'll talk about telecom and digital connectivity. In the world of digital connectivity, we think in terms of numbers like bandwidth, latency, throughput, uptime, and we measure the success in terms of rollout, releases, and the results. But today, as a telecom engineer, I feel that we are standing at an interesting crossroad. We are hearing words like AI, driverless cars, remote surgeries, Brave and Meta glasses, private 5G, IoT, satellite communication, and the latest entrant, 6G. For some, it's a scary situation, and all they want to do is to cling to their jobs and survive. And for some, it's a gold mine to be explored. It's all about the mindset, how you see it. So we people who are working from 9 to 6 are in constant grind of projects and deliverables. And we are all often so inside the jar that we cannot read the label. That's why today I have invited two industry voices who see the digital connectivity world from a different lens. They are outside the jar, so they can read the label very well. And they can also tell us that there are more jars. I'm expecting to have a very meaningful conversation related to my own personal domain. So please welcome my two esteemed guests, Mr. Amit Manocha and Mr. Sanjay Kumar. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good,
Amitji. And
Kamal. Yeah,
Sanjay ji, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay. Mr. Amit Manocha is an industry advisor and transformation architect working at the intersection of AI, robotics, 5G, and emerging technologies. He is helping enterprises turn research into real world impact. Alongside him, we have Mr. Sanjay Kumar, who is the founder of TelcoLearn Services and who has empowered thousands of telecom professionals globally by building future ready skills across telecom, cloud, and AI. So, once again, warm welcome. How is the things in India?
Pleasure to be here, Kamal. Right. So the things are very exciting, as you know that these technologies keep on going in some kind of waves, ups and downs. So currently we are more in the phase of saturation of 5G and just started getting excited for the 6G as we call as of now. Right. Companies are saying that this is going to be the end of G's, but I don't feel that is going to happen very soon. Pretty much excited to and waiting for 6G to happen in next year.
Great, great. Amitji, your views, something about the market in India?
So Sanjay says, it's an exciting proposition that okay, 5G is taking place. Now they are realizing that where is the value to be unlocked, and they are trying their level best to get some. You can say business in the operating model. But on the CG side, thing is that it's you can say not only the technological change. That technological change starts from the you can say chip design.
Right,
So in 6G, basically when terabytes of speed is required and the current material which has been there, that is not going to be supported. But good part is that even in Indian DRDOs has developed material like silicon carbide or gallium nitrate, which is, and they have already developed a chip based on that. So those technological developments are going to be started. But 6G is going to be revolutionary, not in terms of infrastructure upgrade, but it's a you can say key differentiator how the system thinking should work. So that is my views.
I would put my 1 cent into the same topic. In the legacy world, the technologies developed in some part of the world, and before they came to India, it took 3, 4 years. But when it comes to now 5G and 6G, India was very much
Are
neck to
with the
neck
global
at
uh,
far. Yeah, and
economy.
in some stages, it was also ahead. Like we have our
Ahead.
own Mobile World Congress, we have our own market of. So it's a really, really very big market, not only for us Indians, but for the others also. Because if, for example, I am a handset manufacturer and I see a huge market over there, and if I can barge into this market, I can take some share, economy of scale. It will
And
really impact my
yeah,
costing and
Kamal,
everything.
you mentioned about IMC. If you see, IMC is happening. That's one part of the story, but it is happening at a scale, right? The kind of
Right.
scale what we see is humongous, right? So it's really so Indian economy is like that, right? You can love me, you can hate me, but you can't ignore me.
You cannot
So
ignore
we
me,
we
right?
are currently at that stage where we can't be ignored as a tech nation, as a consuming consumer nation, right? The
Right.
kind of skill set what we bring in the software, in the hardware, in the services, right? So it's going to be unignorable. Nobody can afford to ignore it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And let me
Oh,
share you
okay.
some.
Well, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me
Please,
give you
please,
some more
please,
insight.
please.
I mean, as you mentioned that we are not behind it, and I tell you the reason. The government has taken these kind of initiative very seriously. I was part of one of the committee who has presented the 6G vision document to the government of India. There is a one committee has been formed which has academia, DOT, and as well as industry. So we have drafted the entire report that how the 6G should be progressed in India. That we called as a Vision 2030 for India. So how the 6G is going to be consumed and become a reality. Another thing is that even TSDSI, Telecom Standard of India, has launched various awareness session, or you can say this kind of sessions to the audience. And in fact, I was part of one of the 2023 conferences on the 6G as a guest panel. And not only this kind of IMC is the local, even the manufacturing things are also happening in India. Semicon initiative, Semicon 2022 to onwards. India is very much focused on that, how the semiconductor industry is going to be the reality in Indian manufacturing sector. So once we are going to develop this kind of chips and entire ecosystem, then all things are going to be in parallel. I mean, those are going to be developed on top of that. So it is not that now we are the, I mean, technological adoption, but we are also contributing in the technological development as well, and at the same pace.
As I can see, you both have spent more than 2 decades in the industry. So we'll talk a little bit about history. How do you see the journey? And can you highlight some of the changes which you could have never predicted? Like surprising changes that this happened? I could have never thought of that.
Okay,
Any,
Amit, over
can
to you,
you,
then I'll pick
yeah,
it up. Yeah.
Amit, yeah, you can.
See, when I and Sanjay started our careers, all these things are, I mean, in standalone way. I mean, when something is being developed over some infrastructure or even network, we said our job is done. I mean, we have successfully deployed this kind of things. That was the mindset we have. Or, I mean, that was a need actually. You need to do some kind of stabilization. It's so basically IT is all about you can say the side jobs. But now the way IT becomes, I mean, you are orchestrating the workflows. You are directly intermeeting in the operations side. Without, I mean, IT, you cannot define your workflows,
Yeah,
right? So we have never imagined that how this IT would be the core part of the any kind of business operation. Second thing, I also realized that, I mean, when we started this career, all these are different kind of verticals are there, and then there are some COEs are there. So everybody is working in the silos. I mean, so for example, telecom itself is a one division. Still, it is a division, but now at least telecom, along with the you can say horizontal, and along with some kind of you can say cross section with other manufacturing industry or retail industry or energy utility, they are trying to do this collaborative work. So which was never been a. I mean, when we started this career, that was never thought about.
yeah, it was all about voice, data, SMS. Even data was
Yes.
not there, voice and SMS.
Voices and MS. But you have never came to know, okay, that is going to be used in another section also, other industrial sector also. So that was another thing. And but if you ask me what is the fundamental change is that I mean technology has a tremendous pace, but human ability to adapt that things that has not taken to that level. And there are reasons behind that because see we have developed the technology, but human had its own way to learn, and basically some of professionals have already learned that. But I mean you can say complete community, still those things are there. I mean adoption is not up to that level, but I mean that these are some kind of surprises for me.
Okay. So let me share a
Right.
different perspective, Kamal. So, I come from EC background, electronics and communication, as we call it. Right. So, I started my first job as a project engineer, climbing to the tower and, taking antennas on my back and installing that antenna. I never thought that, I will be doing the same stuff, of course, with the AIML, with Python, with Linux. Right. So the world has changed in a big way, right? Where we have moved away from the hardware based architecture to completely software based architecture, completely driven, as Amit has mentioned, completely driven by AIML, automation, orchestration. So these things, I would have never imagined that, I will be writing a code in Python or C, C++, writing about Mac, RLC layer, because I was not really fond of that. It is kind of push which is happening from the industry, which is making me doing all these things which I never imagined, never thought of. But coming back, I'm really enjoying it. I keep on interacting with youngsters. They are full of energy. The only problem is, still, if I ask them what is telecom, they talk about three companies, four companies, which are typically mobile network
Yes.
operator. I tell them,
Yeah.
every Mercedes car runs with a 1 million line of code. Every call what you make runs hundreds of protocol messages in the network. So that disconnect is still there. People still think that making a call in mobile phone is just like about radio, is nothing beyond that. So the programming software is something very, very exciting area, right? The RESTful API architecture, network exposure, as we will talk about more about these things in the upcoming discussion. But that the softwareization of the network is something which is pretty exciting at current stage. Yeah.
True. Okay, so we'll start the question which is targeted for the fresh engineers. Okay, I'll ask this targeting you, Sanjayji, because you work with the fresh blood and the fresh
Mhm.
aspirant. From
Yeah.
your experience, yeah, from your experience as a seasoned telecom trainer and a successful entrepreneur, you often come across the fresh talent. What advice would you give to the fresh aspirant who want to make a living from this digital connectivity world?
Okay, right. So if you see, I've been interacting with these kind of people from last 1 month. I have actually screened and met around 500 plus people. All right. The typical thing what I see is whenever we say telecom, everybody looks at a mobile perspective. Nobody talks about the digital connectivity and a major backbone to the connectivity ecosystem what we run around. So for them, the IT and telecom are two different worlds. Whenever I talk to them, I tell them, see, these are not two different worlds anymore, right? So they have a pretty huge overlap. The telecom, what you can think of, any software jobs, any cloud jobs, any DevOps job, they are available in telecom industry. Telecom is more software than hardware today, right? So I tell them, when you're making a call, it's actually doing a RESTful API communication in the network over HTTP protocol, which most of them are not able to relate some most of the time. So I tell them this telecom goes much beyond these towers and antennas. It has a lot of hardware, a lot of software, of course, and AI, ML, Python, software development, DevOps, Ansible, Terraform. So these are the words what they have heard about, but they don't relate it to telecom world. That's what I try to fill that gap, try to make them
Mm.
understand. Telecom is not just about internet; it is much beyond that. Other
Yeah,
thing what
it's
I
very important.
whenever I say cloud, they typically, for them, cloud is like AWS or GCP. I tell them the calls what you're making, the data what you're sending is all going through cloud. This cloud may not be AWS, but it may be from Airtel or Jio or any other operator for that matter. But it is going over some kind of cloud architecture. So these are few things what I think there is a little awareness is required. But again, as I mentioned earlier also, they're full of energy, but they need the right guidance, right target, what they want to do, what they have to do. That's what I try to convey to them whenever I interact with them.
Yeah, so basically you tell them that don't dig everybody at the same place. There are
Yeah,
also more places to dig,
yeah, correct.
right? Great, great. No,
Yeah,
doing a noble
another
work.
interesting thing, I tell them sometimes, that I train people with fresh minds and I train people with 25 years of experience as well. Now, I frankly tell them, the kind of questions I get, the kind of interaction I have with the fresh minds is always better than with the people who are having 20, 25 years experience. Not because of their experience, because they come with a lot of baggage. They want to know
Yeah.
what they want to know, right? So they don't come with a fresh mind. They mostly are bound, comes with a lot of baggage. So my interaction with the fresh engineers is always much better than when I speak to the experienced people, especially when I'm talking about, not about this kind of discussion, but when I talk about the training program, right? So I really enjoy it, right? Talking to them, interacting with them, and I think I'm able to do justice to that as well. So I see some happy faces when they're leaving, so I think I'm able to justify that time as well.
Yes, yes. As a ex-trainer, you are already my idol.
Yeah, yeah.
I really
Same here, same
idolize
here.
you.
Yeah.
You are a very good guy.
This feeling is mutual, Kamal. We have learned a lot from you, right? So this is always a mutual feeling. Yeah.
Great. So, Amiji, we talked a lot about the cloud and the traditional telecom. You you are expert of another specialization of telecom, which is industrial 5G. So, let me hear something from you. The same kind of advice for the same kind of fresh aspirants. Now, you are a specialist of industrial 5G. and also you're a pioneer of 6G talks in India. So, based on your anticipation, which skills and mindset the new aspirants should develop?
I think it is not a choice between the two skills, whether it's a technical skills or a mindset. See, it's a combination of both. See, if you don't have the technical depth, right? So you cannot build the credibility. So whatever is the right risk, how the technology is going to evolve, what is if you don't have the technical depth, you won't able to get. But at the same time, you need to know, okay, this is the technology, how I'm going to use that, how it is going to be consumed in my environment. So that mindset has to be there. So basically, it is that translation. You know technology, that's good. That is the first point. But how it is going to be combined in some kind of environment, that is another mindset. So if you are in a one kind of space, you have started your career, try to understand, grab the information of that domain and understanding of a people, that how it works. For example, in plant operation, manufacturing, right? You if you understand that, okay, how manufacturing works, how the operator mindset is there, then you can correlate, okay, this is the way, these are the typical problems, these are the bottlenecks, and here my technology comes into the picture. So you need to take both the things. It is not a choice, it's a collaborative effort from both the things.
Great. If we can see the technology that we are building, it's very fancy, but if we can see how it's going to make the difference in the end user's life, that could be really a game changer for the mindset. Right.
Yeah, and that you
Yeah.
only learn when you are on a some kind of domain. For example, I mean, we are talking about so many fancy thing about the robotics implementation, cognitive robotics. Cognitive robotics, the fundamental is that robots itself cannot do everything on its own onboard processing. I mean, I would say that till the time it is not been connected with the edge, all AI models cannot be run. Earlier robotics were a different thing, that those robotic solutions were designed for a specific purpose. So till the time specificity is there, you put everything onto the onboard of hardware of the robot and then put the all the square kind of algorithm. But the way cognition
Yeah.
happen, right? So cognition
Right.
whenever happen, they need to do the runtime decision making. So then the role of, I mean, reliable company, you can say wireless or something like that, is very much required. So you need to understand that if you start, I mean, putting your time into the domain understanding and that how operation works, then you will get a lot many ideas. This is the one example I have given you. It is that, I mean, you need to familiar with those things.
Many people don't think about it. They only think that I have mastered this, let's say, 8 chapters. In each chapters, I have really understood everything how it is. But sometimes it's good to just step out, have an overview what this thing does and how it can affect the life of others. Really, really
And
important.
that is applicable to the robotics engineer as well. I mean, it is not a one-sided story. It is that how you are doing the collaboration.
Yeah, great. Okay, we'll also talk a little bit more about 5G and now in terms of dollars now, 5G monetization. We often hear from all the MNOs and CSPs that the 5G monetization has been a tough nut to crack. How do you see this 5G from a business intelligence perspective? Because still a lot of juice is left in 5G. We started talking about 6G, but I still feel that 5G has a lot of juice still there. How do you see this from the business intelligence perspective for monetization?
See, first of all, this the traditional way, subscriber way, right? 5G is not for the subscriber way. That is my own interpretation, because it has a some kind of, you can say, real feature. I mean, guaranteed services, better deterministic services, faster. So, and I mean, subscriber base may or may not required up to that level, but these deterministic things, all these things are very, very important into the industrial automation aspects, right? So now, if there are two ways, one is that the existing and those kind of businesses will only come when you have a reliable entire ecosystem is in place. For example, the way you are saying that, okay, I have a subscriber base. So what this subscriber base is helping you, it is basically helping you to set up the credential that, okay, if my volumes are going high, low, that is a stability in your infrastructure. And that level of stability and predictability is very much required into the industrial environments, right? Because the human behavior and device behavior or operations behavior are completely different. Human behavior is that, okay, if my signal is dropped or I'm not getting a signal on my mobile phone, I can change my, I mean, place, right? But
Right,
and
right.
If it is been disconnected, I will dial it again,
Yes. Or
right?
maybe I'll not even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when these kind of millisecond based operations are going on, closed loop automations are happening, I mean, your image processing is happening, and that output is also, I mean, peer input to the next systems, right? So this level of, you can say, deterministic and reliable infrastructure is very much in place. Once you establish this through your subscriber base, then use this kind of, you can say, use this kind of learnings to give the value to the external world. Okay, my network is this much stable, and I can give you this kind of all kind of value based features, and that will help you, because traditional wired network and are rigids, and everybody is thinking that, okay, how I'm going to do the virtualization, how I'm going to do the distribution of intelligence. But pe- people are, I mean, really worried, okay, whether I'm going to get that level of, you can say, guaranteed SLAs or not. So telcos need to understand these things and try to give this kind of value proposition to the industrial world.
Just to add
Definitely.
one point here, if you see, Kamal, when I look at 2G, 3G, 4G, there was a problem and they were designed to solve a problem, right?
Hmm.
So, like providing data connectivity, providing voice call, SMS on the move, like 2G did, right? What I feel, what I see it, like we have brought in 5G and we have got a solution. We are trying to find the problems, right? The
Yeah.
problems, when I say problems, doesn't mean the problems, but when you look at
Opportunity.
it, 2G, 3G, 4G were majorly designed for retail customers, right?
Hmm. 100%.
And I don't feel, as Amit has mentioned, and I completely agree with that, we may not see a great business case, exponential kind of growth in revenue coming from the retail customer. That is more or less saturated, right? The only thing what can happen now is get the mature enterprise use cases where the operators will be able to make money, right? That is one. The second big problem what I see is the greenfield versus brownfield comparison, right? Now, let's say there is an industrial setup which is running with some kind of automation by using traditional technologies or maybe previous generation of technologies. It is very difficult to convince them to rip and replace with the 5G kind of technologies. But for greenfield, of course, it is going to be a boon, right? So when we have a proven model, when we have a proven use cases, and there are many use cases which we can see around, right? Then 5G is going to pick up the way we expect it to do, right? Now, so retail, I don't really see a great thing which will change drastically in coming 5 years, especially for 5G perspective. Enterprise, I see a lot of scope which is yet to be explored, right? Yeah, Amit sir, feel free to add, right? So
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you are very much right, Sanjay. Let me give you two examples. I mean, which is recently been a, you can say, game changer. One is that, I mean, Audi has set up its new greenfield plant, and there they have developed, I mean, they have put this virtual PLC. Okay, the virtual PLC concept is like that. I mean, whatever the plant operations are running into the one place, and that control part and all those things are happening 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers away from that place, your work shop floor. Now, this virtual PLC is only going to work when you have some kind of reliable infrastructure with the latency calculations. So
Yes.
initially, what they did, maybe they have used this kind of fibers to that station. I mean, their data center, but eventually, that is a cost,
Hmm.
right? I mean, every time you cannot do this kind of virtual PLC setup with this hardcore kind of network setup. So then reliable wireless is required. But 5G standards, 5G over TSN is not ready up to that level. That is the reason it is not been done. But in future, wherever there is a virtual PLC, 5G TSN is the complementary technology for that. So telco needs to understand that, okay, we are going to leverage that.
Yeah. That even let's say I want to go for the fixed network.
Right.
First of all, I have to disrupt my actual production operations. Then this is a very secured environment. People will not have access to go there. At that time, this private 5G, if it can give reliable connection with a good quality of service, good latency, less jitter, it could be a game changer. Yeah. Yes. Great. Okay. My next question to Sanjay ji. So I want to know from you, is there any advice you would like to give to those guys who maybe have spent 10, 12 years in the industry, and now they want to become an entrepreneur and they follow their passion. Any lesson learned which they should take
A
care of?
lot of lessons, and it will be very short time to share those lessons, of course. I normally say this: the biggest three addictions in the world. The first one is the salt, the second one is the sugar, and the third one is the monthly salary. Right.
Right.
So if you really want to do something, you have to fake it until you make it, right? So you have to get into the waters, try and test it, and it's not going to happen overnight. So it requires a today also I struggle. Today also I still consider myself as a hustler or a struggler, right? Every day is a different day. Every day is a have its own challenges, right? So you should not get carried away with saying that, okay, yeah, people are doing something, I should do the same. You have to find that within, not outside, right? So it's not really an easy game to do it. It's a very, very stressful, very challenging, very tiring sometimes. Yes, it is very encouraging as well, but it has both the sides. So if
Yeah, it has a lot
you
of.
are a working professionals, try to find that niche, try to find that sweet spot, right? What skills you have got, what industry wants, and what can pay your bill. Until unless you find that sweet spot, it is going to be very challenging. For me, I found that sweet spot for me. That is training. So I love training. I never thought that I will be a trainer. I somehow got into it and I became a trainer. Right. Companies are ready to pay for what I do. I enjoy it a lot, right? And at the same time, I get appreciated for this. So for me, that sweet spot is training and interacting with people like you and freshers, experienced people. But finding that sweet spot is very important. Otherwise, it is very, even if you get money, you cannot be satisfied, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you are among those lucky ones who have actually finally found their ikigai,
yeah,
like Japanese call it.
yeah, yeah.
Great. Also,
But
one
it's
more
not
advice
it's
I
not
would.
that it's not that bright. Also, it has a lot of darker side. But yes, but end of the day, it should you should enjoy what you're doing. So that's pretty much required.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I took an interview of one person. He's a very senior person in terms of public speaking and motivation in India. His name is Simarjit Singh. Luckily, I had a chance to talk to him in on this podcast. I asked him same question for advice for the entrepreneurs, and one very important piece which normally 9 out of 10 people will miss. He advised that if you are trying to jump into a new venture on your own, don't just do it because of frustration from your previous job. That is not the correct way. And second important advice that he gave was, which I'm just reiterating for the help of audience: always take your family fully on board, because now when you take this new journey, there's a lot of unpredictability. There are no
lot.
fixed working hours, there will be a lot of grinds, and there will be a lot of surprises. So at that journey, please take a full buy-in, full support, and full understanding of the family, so that they become your support system and not pulling you down at the
Not
times
your
when you're already.
competitor or like, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's rightly said. I have gone through that journey. Like, thanks to my wife, she has been always there for with the thick and thin times, at bad times, good times. And my hair, what you see black, it's not colored, right? It got gray in 2011. I had a
Wow.
completely gray hair. It has became black again, right? So in 6 months, you will be very different guy. So having support from family is unmatchable. If anything come your way, you can fight with them. If your family with you, if your family, you have that kind of support system. But if that support system is missing, it's very difficult to deal with the troubles which are happening, the turbulence which you have outside. Very difficult.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing your experience. Okay, next question now to Amit ji, once again to you. Now, let's say if a surgeon can sit in Germany and operate patients in Rome, what stops an individual sitting in Bangalore and supervising a robot in, let's say, California? Is it a technical barrier, or operational, or it's a mindset driven?
Technology has proven, okay, technology is there. I mean, these kind of things are possible. But the fundamental thing is that whenever, see, industry is not operating on the technological basis, specifically manufacturing and all those things. These are very yield sensitive, operation processes sensitive. So till the time you are not going to introduce the complete frameworks, operating models, processes, Okay, and outcome SLAs. This is not going to be a reality. This is not going to be technologically. I mean, on a POC basis, or sometimes you can do that. That's not a problem. Whenever this kind of things are implemented over scale, you need to take some kind of accountability. So governance part is the key differentiators. How this complete operating model has to be designed. Remote. See the way content creation becomes the remote work. Next big wave when blue collar augmentation is going to happen, that remote operation is a, you can say, tightly coupled things for the blue collar augmentation. But that will become a reality when you have a, you can say, there is a proper operational procedure is there, operational process is there, and then governance structures should be there. So it's a, you can say that, okay, we need to define those kind of things, and industry has to collaborate with the, I mean, connectivity provider. It's a collaborative ecosystem, so you need to set up those kind of frameworks and operating model. Once you fix that, then this becomes a real. What is 5G? Ultimately, every country, everybody is looking for that manufacturing should be near shore or front shore. Okay. So what does that mean? I mean, if you are going to set up a manufacturing unit, it is not as simple as setting up any infrastructure. It requires skills as well as cost factor. Two things are very important because people has to be trained to work on those environment, and there are skills are required as well as cost of operation. I mean, your labor cost has to be in control. Then and then you are going to set up a manufacturing facility. Now, what is going to happen if any country does not have this kind of labor issues, labor cost, or skill, then probably technology can play a better role, and it would be fully, you can say, with the help of automation, autonomousity, various kind of technological enablement. So your fully automated plants would be a reality. That will not only help you to control the cost part, as well as minimum skills are required, or only decision making or some kind of human factor skills are required, not the heavy lifting. I mean, how the people will go to the hazardous environment, how will do that, I mean, some kind of very cumbersome kind of job. So that will give you the help from the technology, that is called augmentation. And blue collar is a term from the manufacturing setup. The way we are called ourselves the white collar people, blue collars are the operators who are working in a plant environment. So
Okay.
blue collar augmentation is that helping the technology, with the help of technology, how you are enabling the human factor to perform a task in a much better way.
So a mine worker, not working in the hazardous condition outside and operating the machine inside the mine, underground mine.
Yes.
That can be one of the
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, one another
Yes.
example would be, yeah, like somebody who is, for example, working on seaport, he is normally has to sit at a height of
I
60 feet in a very vibrating environment, and he has to control that monitor. So this is a very risky job in a very loud environment and a lot of vibration. And if this task could be done from a data center which is on ground in a very, with big screen simulations, and so this is what we're talking about right now here.
Yes, that is all about a blue
Yeah.
collar. And by the way, I have written one article on this one, and that is being published on LinkedIn. That even if blue collar augmentation is there, then what all things are required to make it impactful, or how it is going to be converted. So it is not that, okay, you set up the technology and this thing. It has a four different mindset, product, services, operation, and governance framework. Everything needs to be aligned. Then and then this blue collar augmentation would be a reality. But that is the necessity. If you want to take the manufacturing to the near shore or front shore, then this is the only way you are going to achieve that.
Please share the link. We will put it in the description of this video.
Sure, sure. Yeah. It is my recent link. I mean, I will share it with you. So you can publish it to the this one.
Let us address next question to a person who has been recently laid off, unfortunately, and now he doesn't care about these high tech terms like AI and 6G and stuff. If he gets a job in 2G that will keep his kitchen running and EMI getting paid, he will be happy. What steps would you recommend for him so that he can get a job just for the survival first?
Okay. So Kamal, I'll just share the practical experience. So I've been there, done that, right? So I have gone through the same kind of rejection. But at that point of time, the my biggest strength was that, my network, right? So
Hmm.
so when I faced some unfortunate situation, within a week, I had almost 100 discussions, right? So having somebody, I'm not saying that 100 discussions will convert into something, right? But again, like
They
that
give
gives
you a
you a
ray
lot of
of
time
hope.
that people have,
Yes.
people are there to listen to you, right? That is one.
Yes.
Second, very important thing today is there was a time when we used to talk about master of one, right? Today's telecom world, specifically talking about telecom, it's not really master of one. It's a jack of all trades. People need radio, core network, cloud native, AI, ML, Ansible, right? So in Docker, Kubernetes, and number of different technical skills what you need. You may not be master into one, but you need to know at least at a high level, at a surface level, you need to know most of them, if not all, right? And last but not the least, keeping your expenses low, which is always a thing, right? So your expenses has to be in check, has to be in control. So these are few things, because I was pretty much active into multiple technologies. Content creation is one of the area where I keep on writing content on LinkedIn, and I keep on creating some videos as well on my YouTube channel. So I've got a good network, good reach. So that always helps you to reach to people, and ask for help, ask for recommendation, ask for references. So having a great network, there is no replacement to that. There is no alternate to having
So
great network.
networking, personal branding, and diversifying your reach.
Right. So these are the three very very critical things. Otherwise, these technical stuff, having some designation. I think I may have maybe VP in some small startup, but when I go to other company, they say okay, you have to come as a manager. So these designations, etc., they are all fake, right? So most of the time, I'll say they are all fake. So network, your personal branding, and your diversification, or having multiple skill set, is a very very important fundamental for having these top gap arrangement, or like getting some quick opportunities or quick breaks, right? So that's pretty much important. Sir, feel free to add it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever Sanjay you have mentioned, that is perfectly fine. I mean, it has to be started in that way. Only I would add 2 cents onto that is that, see, as an individual, you need to believe in yourself. I mean, it's a tough phase, but you are not the alone. It can happen to anyone, and take it as a one kind of, you can say, point in your life, career life, and believe in this thing, that this time will also, I mean, pass, and
Right.
you need to start practicing this. Is that, first of all, you need to take out this thing what I have delivered earlier. Okay, take from out from that mindset. You need to believe, and you need to change your thinking pattern. Is that, I know this too, I can do this, and I'm doing this. So basically, skill to capability, that matters, because ultimately you need to unlock the value, and value will only be unlocked when you know your strengths, you know how to play them, how to project them, and then ultimately deliver them. So it is not about knowing, it is about delivering. So when you
Perfect.
start thinking in that direction, it's all mindset. And I mean, it is proven thing. Hard work will pay you off. It's a just matter of time, right?
Great. Great. No, really, really useful advices. Thank you. And really, Amitji, your addition to the discussion that me and Sanjay were having, like on the same question, your addition is also very valuable, because it's not just about technical, it's about mindset also. Very yes. Thank you. Right. Now let's talk about the elephant in the town, IML. So if we talk three people related to information communication technology on a podcast, if we don't talk about AIML, I think something will be missing. Like it will be a soup without salt. So AIML is the hot topic. Everybody at every conference or whenever industry leaders are meeting, they are discussing about it. For some, it's a tool for cutting jobs, and for some, it is its opportunity which is opening new doors for them. How do you see AI for telecom, especially AI for telecom?
Okay, Amitji, over to you, right? So I'll take it up.
Yeah, so basically, see, in specifically telecom, there are two aspects. One is your front end aspect, and other is a back end aspect. So it's not a no more subscriber base, right? Now it
Right.
is that you need to serve to the multiple entities, multiple industries, which has their own ways of SLA and quality of services. There are certain, I mean, you can say defined parameters which needs to be met. And since telecom has not, I mean, served in that way, how the deterministic or how reliable, as I gave you the example that the way energy utility sector provide any services, if that grade of services needs to be done to through telecom, then it is manually impossible.
Hmm.
So on a backend side, all these kind of finer, refined views, right? That is where AI is going to play a role. And this also they need to capture one thing which I'm normally using in manufacturing sector. See, vibration collection is not important.
Hmm.
Vibration parameter collection along with what SQs were I mean, what kind of packet and what kind of things are moving, what kind of pressure, I mean, other surrounding environment. So surrounding, or you can say differential aspect. So your data with respect to what kind of operation. So these are some kind of example where backend operations can be optimized through AI. And ML is definitely the first step. AI comes later. ML is basically how you are collecting the data and then understanding that. And in the front end aspect, even your user experiences, right? I mean, one is the subscriber user, but content delivery, content creation, those are other kind of, I mean, how this is going to be flowed. So you need to put some kind of, you can say, algorithms where AI can play a differentiated role. So your back end and front end of both side operation, AI become a catalyst, and it will give you some kind of meaningful output, which is very much important for your business and business expansions.
Right.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
just my
Your
two
thoughts.
cents. Yeah. So I will share two stories here. Right. So first story is right. I was listening to one of the leading CEO of one of the leading MNO in APAC. She says, as a CEO, I am convinced that AI ML is required for MNOs. It is very difficult to convince the CFO. Right.
Hmm.
So I know I want it, but how do I really justify the ROI or the kind of investment what we are making? That is one thing. What we need to see is we need to have clear cut scenarios of what we want to do. And just to add on to that, recently AI RAN alliance has come into play, and they talk about three things which is very critical for MNOs to decide and develop on. And I'll not say only for RAN, I will say AI for telecom, AI on telecom, and AI and telecom. Right. For telecom means how do we really make our existing, and I generally tell this in my training program when I'm talking about AI for telecom program. I say AI ML is not new to telecom. We have been doing automation from last 15 years. Self-organizing network is nothing but AI ML implementation for
Right.
radio access network. Right. So it has been 15, 20 years. We are already doing it. But what we need now is we want to enhance the consumer, not restrict this AI ML only to optimizing the network, but improving the overall consumer experience and integrate AI ML into each and every aspect of telecommunication network. Make it better, increase the consumer experience, enhance the network exposure services, network exposure capabilities of the systems so that operators can make more money out of it the way Google and Facebook are making. That is the first aspect. The second aspect is AI on telecom. That means bringing in new applications which are traditionally not supported by the telco networks, right? Enabling new applications, new services, which actually enhances the network capabilities and also create more revenue streams for the operators, like edge applications or any other applications which were not traditionally the telecom application, but now they can be enabled because we have AI in place, right?
Right.
The third and most critical concept. So all three of us come from telecom. We know how critical and how difficult it is to build the telecom infrastructure, right? So you need a base station closer to every home, right? Where everybody needs the data rate. Nobody wants the tower, right?
Right.
We
Right.
sort of resistance also, and how difficult it is to build that infrastructure. So we have a computer, we have a big server sitting very next to your home to give you the services, give you the data rate. Now, if telcos want to build one infrastructure for telecom and a parallel infrastructure for AI ML, this is going to fail for sure, right?
Yes.
Have to find a way. They have to find a way where the infrastructure what they are building, whether it is for 5G or 6G, that has to be telecom ready, AI ready infrastructure, where the both AI and telecom workload can be converged into a single infrastructure. If that doesn't happen, I don't think that it is going to become a big hit, because operators are very highly bleeding already with the infrastructure what we are talking about. Putting a separate parallel infrastructure for AI ML is not going to work at all. So they need to find a way where all these workloads, AI ML workloads and telco workloads, can be used on a same converged infrastructure. And that is, and having said all these things, whenever they are doing something, they need not to use AI ML as a blanket term or blanket terminology. They have to find what suits where, and they have to implement according to that. Otherwise, it is going to be a big disaster for telecom world. That's what I feel.
Right. I totally agree. Okay, now we all have experience. We have seen the changes. So now my next question will be related to the change management. So as we are talking through these things changing from SMS and voice to voice and data, now we're talking about data only. In future, we are talking about connected machines and connected intelligence. We have seen so many changes in front of us. So for a person who is working at mid management level and there is no visibility in front of him because he wants to lead his team in a deterministic way. So think about this next question for a mid management level guy who has 14, 15 years experience. He's leading a team of 20, 25, maybe 50 engineers. His duty is to take the message of management and communicate to the team what's going on in the company. At the same time, he doesn't want to create panic.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of situation today people are facing where they have to inform the team that there are changes going to be happen, but nobody knows exactly how these changes will happen. So there is this uncertain change management right now.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about that? Amiji, you or Sanjay ji, anybody can take this question.
You want to take Sanjay?
Yeah. So if you see,
Yeah.
yeah. So Kamal, if you see, there is a lot of uncertainty. The way technology is transforming, it is much, much faster than what we would have imagined maybe 5, 10 years back. Even in telecom, we used to say technology changes every 10 years. Those are the
Right.
things of the past. That is not the scenario. Technology changing every 6 months, right? The other massive change what we have seen in the last 5 years, especially when 5G started rolling out, what I have felt is the way technology have changed, we need more technical people than the managers, right?
Hmm.
So having a person just saying that I'm managing something is not going to work, right?
Not going to work.
Even if you are a manager at whatever level, you have to have the hands on with the, you have to get your hands dirty with the technical things which are happening in the network, right? So that's a different perspective. I think it's slightly different
No, I
than what you.
totally agree with you. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you. This one.
right.
Yes.
So you have to have hands on. So at whatever level you are, you have to hands on with the things. Today, if I'm going to talk about cloud native, I need to know what Docker and Kubernetes. I cannot just talk about it to my team until unless I know a bit of it. I may not know at every command level, but I need to know the architecture. I need to know the overall functionality. That's without that you cannot do management today. So in telecom, the management, pure management is the thing of the past. It has to be technical management only. Coming to your point, as I mentioned at the start of our session, that the wireless networks are a bit wavy. They actually grow with every next generation coming in, and they go down after it gets saturated, and then again it come up. So we are expecting that some traction will happen once the timeline of 6G will come out by June 2026, which was the original plan, of course, right? So we are seeing that there are some traction going to happen, but before that, the market is little disrupted currently, right? And I see people have to have little patience in the things are going to change. The kind of hype what we have seen, where Amazon, Google, any software company you name, they have started jumping in the bandwagon of 5G. The dust has settled more or less. The things are more or less in control, even though they may not look very promising currently, may not look very attractive. But I think that dust has settled, right? Google has settled. AWS has stopped their private network deployment. They have stopped their services on their AWS console. So I think more or less the things are in control now. Maybe another 6 8 months, 10 months of uncertainty, and the things are going to get better from there. That's what I feel. So it is important as a manager for me to communicate that to my teams, that okay, the worst is almost over, if not over, right? Upskill yourself, get ready for the change, and you have to be on your feet all the time. You have to be on your toes all the time to learn new skills, do new things. So that's pretty
And
much
be ready for
important.
anything.
Be ready for it. Yeah,
Amit,
Amit.
your two, yes.
Yeah, so whatever you have said, that is completely relevant. I just want to add a little different perspective, but I mean, and see, everybody has one is that you can say the way we have developed our skill, which is visible to everyone, but there are hidden skills as well. Okay. So my simple suggestion is that I take these kind of things in this way, that there are three dimensions to enhance your skills. One is technological development, another is technological consumption, and third is a domain understanding. So whatever you are doing, suppose you are in one of the dimensions, one of the axis, technological development, technological consumption, or domain. Try to get the perspective of a other axis as well. And if you are going to take the three axis, then well and good, right? So
If you can
if you
manage.
are, yeah, if you are managed, then you see that okay, on a very how this kind of things are going to be useful in a various domain. What are the critical factors, right? So you need to, I mean, try to gather that information, and then in the age of AI, it is very much easy to augment your knowledge. Basically, I'm not telling you to change your core skill, but at least augment your skills with these three dimensions. Okay, so you could be somewhere between technological development or consumption. Try to draw those kind of parallels, or with respect to some domain, how it is going to be useful. So this is the way you can start evolving yourself. And then under another is concept I'm using. So this concept I mean my term as cube of expertise, because you have three
Cube of
dimensions.
expertise.
Yeah, cube of expert. You have at one dimension a technological development, consumption, and domain. Another approach on top of this is that prosumer approach. Okay, so prosumer means it comes from a electricity grid things. The way solar panel has been integrated, that means anyone can now produce energy and give it back to the grid itself. So now you are
Hmm.
producer as well as consumer. So that is the term prosumer comes. So whatever you are consuming, try to produce something. So if you are working in these two dimension or three dimension, then definitely something will come out. Then give back to that. Okay. So this way you will feel empowered that okay, I am doing some, because you have, as I told, there are hidden skills and then your way of working, but you need to evolve yourself. So the moment you start doing this kind of things, you will see very beautiful pattern within yourself and you feel empowered.
Yes.
So it's a little
Great.
different perspective, but try to apply these kind of things.
Okay. Now, next question is again to both of you. As connectivity shifts from the consumer via SMS voice data to a foundational digital infrastructure, where do you see the next sustainable growth engine for MNOs over the next 5 to 10 years? So, this question is more for the CFOs and CEOs of the big MNOs. So, if they are listening, anybody in the C level suite is listening, what's your understanding of the market? Where is the next sustainable growth engine for next 5 or 10 years?
Okay, so I would like to take this. So one point what I have already highlighted earlier, one was like typically talking about the enterprise market segment, that's going to be one of the growth engine for the MNOs. The other interesting area, right? So wherever I'm talking about these topics, I normally ask a very simple question to the students or to the audience here: who knows more about you as a user? Either it is Google or Facebook or Airtel or Jio, the two biggest operator in India, right? So 90% of them who don't come from the deep tech background, they say Google and Facebook knows about much more than Airtel and Jio. So I tell them, hey, do you know that as soon as you buy your SIM card, Even before you insert that SIM card in your phone, they know about you, your address, your gender, your location, and everything.
Your PAN card.
Even before you inserted that SIM card in your phone, so they know each and every bit and byte of the things what you're doing. So in 2021, just to give you an estimate, API business was around 500 billion US dollar, right? The companies who are making money from API business, right? API business is another very strong area where MNOs has to target. And of course, the companies are working in the direction. Recently, Ericsson has created a joint venture company with 13 or 15 leading MNOs of the world, right? Just to build the software products and API around telecom services. So, enterprise services, API businesses, and the third most important part is advertisement, right? So they are moving from the telco companies to ad tech company, right? So building this ad tech platform to build more and more revenues from the advertisements, because they have a strength which typically the Facebook and Google kind of companies don't have it, right? So I
Great,
think these are the three areas which are going to the growth engine for the MNOs for the next decade.
great, great. Amitji, your
Yeah,
views on
so
this topic.
whatever Sanjay has said, I mean, I just double click on that version. See, you have heard about V2X, right? So
Yeah, we
V2X is one version where, I mean, they are going to get measure of the business. Then second is industrial operation, remote operation, augmented operation, right? Closed loop automation, slicing, whatever we get. But another angle is that the way 6G is coming, or the you have ubiquitous connectivity and a non-terrestrial network. Telco also need. I mean, they are. I'm sure they are aware about that. That now connectivity is on the aerial side as well, not towards the ground, because there are so many things. When you the moment you think about the aerial connectivities, it would be a completely different paradigm shift. Your eVTOLs, right? eVTOLs are, I mean, unmanned passengers, drone applications, drone monitorings, right? Drone based. So the moment you so far your all focus is on the ground based communication. The moment you think about the aerial based communication, there's lot many opportunities are going to be open. But you need to think about that okay, how I'm going to deliver in a collaborative way, because people in the drone business, eVTOL, they need robust connectivity and infrastructure. But you need to work with them with a collaborative way, not as a standalone connectivity provider. You have to have come with a collaborative approach that okay, how as a cohesive we are going to deliver this kind of service. And by the way, the way private 5G has been this spectrum allocation happen. You know, this John Deere who has purchased the 5G spectrum is now providing tractor as a service farming in the farming world, because he has its own intelligent tractor, as well as he has purchased the CBRS spectrum, so he can provide that service. So similarly, telco also needs to think in that direction, that how I am going to help in this kind of augmentation,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So these are, I mean, you need to drill, as I said, I mean, understand the industrial context, you will find lot many opportunities.
Yes, this is very important. A few days back, I was talking to one person, and like the normal statement you hear from anybody who is working in telecom, the jobs are dying. Okay. Like I made this very general statement, jobs are dying, which is like a very common man statement. The person who was listening to me, he was also saying that I need good guys and I'm not finding them. That is also true. So if you just want anybody, there are 5,000 people, 5 million people available. But at the same time, if you want something whom you can trust, very few people are available. So we all have to
So
think about building our very good.
when you go to market to find one good person, you will not find it, right? I get 500
Yes.
profiles, I'll not able to shortlist a single one out of that, right? And people are saying we don't have jobs, right? So we are losing jobs. At the same
Yes.
time, when you hire people and then very first day they say I'm doing this, I'm not doing this, and this is not gonna work anymore, right? So you have to be, as
That's
I
why, Sanjay ji,
mentioned.
this credibility is very important, because nowadays, if I have an opportunity in my team, I don't have time to go through 500 CVs. And if I go through four or five, I see the beautiful adjectives that they have put in front of them: AI, evangelist, 5G expert, and this and that. And then I take the interview, and in 5 minutes, I understand that it is a wastage of my time. After 4 or 5 interviews, I really we feel like in shock.
So this is
This is very
again a
much
big
true.
problem what I faced recently while I was interviewing around 100 plus people. Right, more than the skills AI have, people are using AI to generate profiles. Right.
Yeah.
So they have
Okay.
got very beautiful profile to crack all the ATS systems, application tracking
Hmm.
systems, so that CV lands in the shortlisted one. But when you talk to them, you know that they don't even know the first line of their resume.
Right.
That's a typical.
I will also share something which happened yesterday with me. I was talking to a gentleman. We were going through a presentation together. We were basically having a dry. So
Mhm.
my job was basically to give him honest feedback that this should be improved, this should be dropped, this should be added, like that. I could see the presentation was good, very appealing to the eyes, but the person was taking time in explaining to me. Go to another scenario where he built this presentation from scratch. Believe me, it making the slide, might have taken time for him, but in presenting, it would have not taken any jittering of the voice, any
The
uncertainty
conviction
while explaining
has to come from with the conviction.
it. Yeah. So I feel that if a presentation is made through AI, while producing, you might have some speed up in the process, but while delivering, there will be some problem unless it is very well
If you see,
rehearsed.
you come from technical and training background, and I always say this: it is much easier to deliver a training with a bad presentation what you have built than a good presentation which somebody else has built. Right.
100% true.
So
Okay, I've taken already more than 1 hour from you. I will just ask one last question. From the experience of our previous technologies, what we have seen in 3G, maybe on 4G, something we learned from 3G, 4G, we should not deploy to 4G, 5G, and 6G, like lesson learned.
First of all, faster technological deployment does not guarantee that value will be unlocked. Okay, that is the first point I'm going to say. So you deploy fast, but as I said, without understanding the context, okay, you are not going to unlock the value. So first of all, though I would say that in 5G, at least 5G AA, Automotive Alliance, and 5G ACIA is being created. But again, the fundamental purpose is that how the deployment will work, not that how ecosystem is going to work in that. See, 5G Automotive Alliance and 5G ACI mean automated disconnected industrial environment, industrial automation, right? There people are come and they said, okay, but the focus is that how my deployment architecture would look like, how I'm going to deploy this. But they have never thought that how the collaborative value will be unlocked. So that is the biggest lesson I would say, or I would advise to the industry or telcos or 3GPP, that think about that. Now you are matured, industry is matured. There are so many autonomous opportunities are there. Think like that as a collaborative partner, not as a service provider or a technological provider. So that is the thing I would definitely advocate, that this is the my lesson, that whenever any kind of consortium or alliance is being built, we need to focus on that what kind of various value can be unlocked.
Sanjay ji, you're
yeah,
yes.
I would like to add 2 points here. If you see, if we really want this wireless industry to survive and thrive, right? So there are two things which are, very much required. The first one is the government has to stay away from making more and more money from the spectrum, right? So if you look at the 5G in India, three or four operators have spent around $19 billion just in the spectrum, right?
Yes.
And tomorrow, if you want them to invest the same money in 6G spectrum also, I see there is going to be a big problem, right? That is one thing, right? So government should think that, okay, we have made enough money from 5G spectrum, and let them allow to use the same spectrum or maybe little bit additional spectrum at a nominal price on the future generation. That is the first requirement. The second important thing is moving away from these hardware transformation. Of course, in some of the areas Amit has mentioned where we need to do the material management or material implementation, because the material itself is not available to handle those kind of workloads or those kind of data rates. That is where it will be required. But when we talk about central processing, central architecture, you see, when you started using WhatsApp maybe 10-15 years back, and what you was using start WhatsApp today, it has evolved a lot, but not with much of a hardware changes. It's mostly happened with the software upgrades. So the telecom networks has to be more software centric than hardware updates, and selling these boxes, selling these hardwares to operators again and again, because there is a limitation when they can take this hardware. So if you look at the operators in India, they are already running four networks: 2G, 5G. Of course, 3G is slowly getting down, but still they have, on
But
top of
still,
that, they have,
operational cost is there. Yeah.
yeah, on top of that, that's only wireless I'm talking about. On top of that, they have the fiber network, they have landline networks, they have IP or internet networks. So they are managing kind of seven
Digital
networks.
TV.
Digital TV, all right. So they are already managing 7-8 networks. For them, spending more money for a new box hardware, a new spectrum, I think that is going to be a stopping point for them. It will be a roadblock for them. So if we have to make it successful, this spectrum policies has to be liberalized. Government has to think that, okay, we made enough money, we don't want to do it again very soon. And secondly, the hardware centric network has to go. More software controlled, software managed network has to come. Yeah.
So more harmonized, more synergized, and the ease of operation for the MNOs.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, I mean, think collaborative effort. You need to also think that how you are going to collaborate and then unlock the value.
Correct.
You are not all
Yeah.
not need not to sell the connectivity as service. You need to think that you are also a transformator, and your job is to unlock the value.
Great. I think we had a very good conversation with more than 1 hour now. I'm very happy for Amitji, you and Sanjayji
Same here.
for
It
finding
was
time
pleasure.
to talk to us. Thank you. As we are coming to the end of this episode, I would like to really extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Amit Manocha and Sanjay Kumar for sharing their deep thoughts about this telecom, AI, and the future. And Amitji, you also shared some of these important points related to well-being and growth from happy, not just rich perspective. Thank you for that. And to everybody who's listening, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and it inspired you. If you resonated with the messages that we discussed today, please share it with other people. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it. I'm your host, Kamal Vij, and thank you very much. See you in
Yeah.
another
Thank you.
episode of Happy Not Just.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you so much. Bye.